Okay, so this is Jolie here with Nathaniel the Prospect Wood on MMA by Seconds Out. We're going to be uploading a lot more on this channel, and no better way to start than here at a new gym in Morden, London. A gym that's looking to take over the UK. There's going to be some big names coming in, and obviously with yourself and with Brad Pickett at the head of everything, it's looking like exciting times for you and for the gym. How are things, first of all?
Yeah, everything's good. Obviously, what a way to start the new year with a brand new gym. I think it's 12,000 square foot. So, I don't think there's many gyms that big in the UK, especially covering with everything we're covering. So, yeah, I'm excited. I think 2022 is going to be positive and a successful year.
How good is it to finally get in the gym? Because obviously with COVID this, COVID that, we've all heard enough about COVID right now, but obviously it's delaying things. And as you say, it's a big gym for someone who's in the UFC like yourself. It's just what you need. But how good is it to finally have it with you?
Oh, mate, words can't describe, how happy I am that we're actually in here now. I think it's been over maybe a year and a half now since we saw the place, obviously with COVID restrictions, and there was so much other hurdles that we had to get over to get in, to now actually be here and actually be training, have the mats down. It's amazing, so I really think that this is that extra little weapon I needed in my arsenal to get to the UFC title. Obviously for the last 12 years since I've been training, I've been moving to gym here and there, and traveling an hour and a half up London. So to have everything literally on my doorstep, it's a dream come true, really.
Yeah. And the last year for you must have been obviously lots of lessons. 2021. I don't want to go back to 2020 because although this is the first time I've interviewed you, that's obviously there's so much to talk about since then. You're in a close fight with Casey Kenny, but 2021 to not have a fight must have just been crazy. And obviously with this gym kind of almost looking like it's round the corner and not being able to fully open it. How much of a roller coaster was 2022 not even having a fight?
It was gutting, honestly. Obviously, coming from the Casey Kenny fight, injured my hand. That put me out for, let's say, 6 months. Luckily, I got a bonus, which allowed me to, live off that still. Because obviously, if we don't fight, we don't get paid, and money doesn't last forever. So, I'm glad now to obviously have a fight, get back in there. But I think I had Jonathan Martinez that was matched in September. That was going to be in Vegas. I was looking forward to that, getting paid. I was pretty confident I was going to knock him out. And then break my hand, and it was literally 4 weeks before. So, what can you do with a broken hand? There's no way I can fight with that. I was contemplating whether to just go in there and, do the best with my jab and elbows. But, my dad said to me, don't be ridiculous. You've broken your hand. It's a completely different injury, but it was on the same hand that I had originally hurt. So, yeah, that put me out again for another 6 months, 4 months, however long it was. And, yeah, fight money aside, like obviously I need to fight to get paid. I fight for passion, for fun. So for someone to take that away from me, which would now be probably a year and a half by the time I fight, I can't put into words what that does to you. It makes you a stronger fighter. It makes me appreciate everything that I had. Whereas, when you're fighting all the time, sometimes you can take it for granted. And, now I've got a new hunger. So, I'm pretty confident that 2022 is going to be my year and that I'm going to make a statement in the UFC.
And before we talk about potentially when that could be, obviously we've got a UFC London card, hopefully in London in March. But what is one thing that you say you learned from 2021? Because, like we say, it wasn't like as you'd expected, not fighting at all. But you must have learned so much being out. You don't just sit there. And obviously, when people take losses as well, they say you don't learn, you don't lose, you learn.
For me, it's just to appreciate the small things. As I say, like money aside, just to be able to compete. It's what I love to do. And when you have an injury and you can't, you're physically being told you can't fight. It makes you appreciate that. Just being able to compete is the nice thing. And I think for 6 months I've been sparring with one hand. Obviously, we can kick, we have elbow pads, etc. But just to have my hand back, now I can actually box with two hands as opposed to just using my jab and a hook the whole time. So, for me, the lessons was just to appreciate what you have, and at any moment touch wood, you can get injured and that's you out for a year. So, you know, I'm not ever going to take that for granted again. And yeah, now is about getting back in there and doing what I do best.
So I kind of just hinted potentially in March. Is that what we're looking at? Whether it's in London or not, we're not sure yet.
Yeah, so I believe at the moment the UFC are just waiting on this COVID restrictions and stuff, which from what I saw Boris say yesterday, there aren't any restrictions. So yeah, the plan I believe is in London. I don't actually know where. I'm not sure if it's the O2, which, you know, I assume it would be because that's where the UFC have always gone. So if that is the case, you know, to fight in my hometown again, you know, that's going to be special. And the last one that I had, which was in 2019, you know, that was one to remember to the day I die. So, you know, I can't wait to do that all over again.
That's a crazy thing to put into perspective. And talking of, you know, everyone knows the story of how you were inspired by Brad when you were younger, and obviously now you're with him and at the gym. Obviously someone else that any fighter or any fight fan is inspired by is Jose Aldo, and he's doing well in the bantamweight division at the moment.
Yeah, so obviously Jose Aldo, I remember watching before I even started training. You know, he was the boy. He was the WEC champ at the time, and you know, if anything, I was a proper Jose Aldo fanboy. So now that he's in my weight category, I know I'm obviously a few fights away from that yet, but the potential to be able to fight him is unbelievable, really, when you think about it. And I always just think about what it would look like on the screen when I watch back my fight if I could say I was fighting Jose Aldo. So, you know, hopefully I can rack up a couple of wins, and that might be a fight that I can you know, ask the UFC for. But it'd be an absolute honour to obviously step in there with a legend as himself.
Yeah, because obviously no one thought he was down and out, but obviously losing to McGregor and then taking a loss against Jan as well. But the way he's come back, he's looked phenomenal last year.
Yeah, for sure. I think that obviously coming down to bantamweight, I thought was going to be a big struggle for him. Obviously not. You know, he's been on an absolute tear. Even obviously he's lost to Peter Yan. You know, Peter Yan's he's not the champ at the moment, but everyone would say he's the champ. So, you know, and I think it was the first 3 rounds I had Aldo winning. So, you know, until obviously he turned it around and then got the finish, you know, it can show that he's still got it. And mate, you look at his last couple of fights, you know, he's still 100% sure, you know, a title contender.
How's your weight? Obviously, it was a catch weight for the last fight. Obviously, that's a long time ago, but everything looking good for potentially if it is March the weight.
Yeah, the weight's absolutely fine. I've never had this much notice to actually prepare for my fight, so, you know, without a doubt, the weight's going to be spot on. Obviously, the Casey Kenny fight was actually on 3 weeks' notice, so obviously I said to him, look, I'm not going to make bantamweight, you know. And the thing is I don't ever want to be that guy that misses the weight. And I know a lot of fighters, what they do is they take a fight on short notice. They say, yep, I can make 135 pounds. They don't make it. Looks unprofessional. It doesn't look good on the UFC. And no one wants that. So for me, I always think, be honest. You know, the UFC have offered me a great fight. It's on 3 weeks' notice. But unfortunately, guys, I can't make weight. But I'm just going to say that now. So if the UFC wanted to turn around and say, look, Nath, you make 135 or you can't fight, cool. At least I've said, look, you know, this is what it is. So, you know, I'm grateful that obviously Casey Kenny, the UFC, we was able to get that catch weight. Because, yeah, on 3 weeks' notice, so I'm not making 135 pounds. But, you know, obviously we got it. Well, as far as I was concerned, I thought I had the job done. Yeah. Fight didn't go my way. You know, the judges gave it to him. But as I say, I got a bonus, you know, luckily. So that helped me survive this injury for the last year. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to getting back in there now and doing it all over again. Yeah,
definitely. And you mentioned having the bonus a second ago. You've been in the headlines over the last year talking about UFC fighter pay, which obviously it's quite hot a topic, I guess, at the moment because Jake Paul and Dana White are going back and forth. And you were defending UFC fighter pay. Could you just kind of talk on what you were saying on Twitter about how you think it's you respect what the UFC do and you're up for or you're pro UFC fighter pay?
So for me, it was purely just about my opinion and that I'm happy with my money. Okay, so obviously I see a lot of fighters at the time, I won't mention names, but who are asking for ridiculous numbers to do something which they love to do, you know, and there's, let's say, emergency services out there that are getting paid absolutely nothing. And my point was, look, hey guys, we're all doing what we love to do for a living, yeah. But even my point now, it's like any business in the world, you know, I bet Starbucks don't pay their staff a share of their percentages. They get paid a wage. And the UFC, I don't personally care how much they make. They can make billions and billions of pounds. I'm happy with what I'm getting paid. you know. And my point was just that, hey, look, guys, a lot of people are giving the UFC stick for what they pay their fighters. I know everyone's saying, yeah, but they earn this amount, etc. That's got nothing to do with me. I wasn't with the UFC for the last 28 years where they've been around. I never helped them get into the business. I have nothing to do with that. I just fight and I get paid. I'm happy with my paycheck. That's what my point was. You know, am I saying that I don't want to get paid millions? No, of course not. Like, if the UFC turned around now and said, Nath, we're going to pay you, you know, 10% of pay-per-view, oh, bloody hell, I'll take that. Am I going to moan about my purse? No, I'm happy with my money. You know, I was earning a lot less on a building site doing something that I hated for a living. So for me, I'm just more about, it was a positive message to say, like, just to be grateful for what we have in life. And it's not always about more. We always want more money. So, you know, don't get me wrong. I would like to be a millionaire. I believe I'm going to be a millionaire, but I'm going to do that outside of fighting. You know, I'm going to use the money that UFC pay me, and I am going to invest with my money, and I'm going to use it wisely. Do I think that the UFC needs to pay me millions of pounds? No, I don't make them millions of pounds. Let's be honest. So, yeah, you know, I guess you've got people like Conor McGregor that are getting paid ridiculous numbers when he's making that pay-per-view numbers. Cool, that's fair. But yeah, for someone like myself, I think I'm getting paid quite a nice sum. And as I say, the UFC, let's be honest, they don't need me, you know. So yeah, it was kind of a positive message. Loads of people got funny about it. Like, people didn't. Loads of people said, mate, this is so nice and humble to see a post like this. And then you had your typical trolls that were like, you know, yeah, you're getting brain damage for nothing. And so, yeah, it is what it is. But it's social media, guys. So, you know, don't take everything to heart.
That's it. Are you pro or against Jake Paul? Let's just put that one to you.
I don't really... I'm not for him. I'm not really against him, to be honest. Obviously, what he's doing is very clever. He's making a hell of a lot of money just by, you know, talking a good game as well. But yeah, you know, it's one of those. If I'm honest, mate, I don't really go on it too much anymore because social media for me I just think it's poison. I obviously have to have it as it's a business tool. You know, it's great for advertising me as an athlete, but yeah, man, I try and stay off it as much as possible.
Interesting. So, just want to get your picks on Ngannou Gane, which is happening on the 22nd this month. Seems like it's been a while since we've had a break from the UFC this long, but yeah, 22nd this month, the heavyweights go at it.
Yeah, that I don't think you can even say who's going to win. Obviously, anything could happen at any moment, especially with the power that they both have. I personally think that Ciryl Gane's the better fighter. You know, I think that he might be the more technical, the more skillful. But, mate, come on, if Ngannou hits you, man, you're going down. So, yeah, and I'm guessing it's a 5-minute round fight. So, 25 minutes with those two in the octagon. Yeah, I don't think you can count anyone out until it's over.
It can't go 25, can it?
No, mate, I'll be very surprised. So, I'd like to see their gas tank at the end of it if it does.
All right, then let's just finish off with how many fights can we expect from you this year? What are you kind of expecting from the year? Obviously, hopefully out in March, but if not in America.
If I have it my way, I'd like to get at least 3 fights in. 3 fights, 3 wins in 2022. Obviously, that I'll be happy with. If I had it my way, I'd like to get 4. You know, that for me would be definitely worth doing. I'm going to try and keep my weight as low as possible after fights. Fingers crossed, no injuries, because that's a real pain in the arse. But yeah, I want 3 wins, 3 good fights, and yeah, back to doing what I love.
And hopefully fighting in front of the British fans, that's something which everyone aspires to do, but the fact you've done it, that once again back in 2019...
Yeah, for sure. You know, you're never going to beat that hometown crowd. You know, that for me, as I say, is a very special moment. So, you know, I'm hoping that it's obviously going to be in London, get that done. Part of me thinks, you know, I think MMA is legalised now in France. Are they going to do a French card? That would be cool. But yeah, you know, for me, it's just be active, and no matter where that octagon is, you know, get in there, get the win, and then come home and count my paycheck.
Great way to end it. Listen, I really appreciate your time. It's a really nice gym you got down here. So, yeah, hopefully everyone flourishes. And, yeah, big 2022 for the gym. Thank you very much, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.